During the last week of May of 2013, I found myself sitting in this McDonald's parking lot in the middle of Kansas, watching these storm clouds brewing on the horizon. I'm sitting in the middle of Tornado Alley. It's the height of tornado season, and I am here to chase storms. And so as I'm trying to formulate our plan for the day and observing these storms going off, one of my crew members comes sprinting from this McDonald's, out of breath, choking on his drink almost, and he says to me, "You're not going to believe this. Tim Samaras and his crew are sitting at this McDonald's. We have to go meet them."
How's it going, Carl? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Us or what? And really beat Reed yesterday.
Yeah, we beat Reed.
Great. So what do you think of the forecast? Tornadoes
right here.
Get the criminal sign.
That's good. Right here.
We've got plenty of time to just chill out, watch the forecast.
Well, I think so.
That's right.
Maybe a little bit to the west.
Yeah.
Carl commented, looking at the visual satellite, we've got some development queue all over the place. So, offload boundary and triple point. Who knows?
Yeah. We're watching. We saw the latest update from the SBC. We're watching that to watch still.
Oh, okay.
Everyone seems to be massing in Osmond, I think.
Oh, really?
West of here, yeah.
I know, I'm like the shortest one.
I'd like to. Hi. Hi. Tim.
Yep. Sally.
We've been planning patiently. I don't know how you do it. Really? Yeah. Like for people like us.
Yeah.
So where are you guys at? Hi. I'm out of Toledo.
They're out of Ohio. Warren and I here are out of Georgia.
I know.
She's out of Arizona.
Yeah, 6 months ago I picked this week and I never thought it would materialize.
Wow, yeah. Well, the way that the spring was looking. Oh my gosh, we were out that first week of April. It was like, we played the Southern Park. Don't get this way.
Oh no, you guys are fine. You guys, no, you guys.
I know.
I can stretch.
I'm like the perfect height that it's gonna zero.
There you go.
The last weekend, so I think our group wound up catching tornadoes that we were out the tornadoes south.
That's probably good.
Now, Tim Samaras is pretty much the rock star of the storm chasing world. He holds world records from withdrawing information from inside of tornadoes. He was featured on the Discovery Channel series appropriately titled Storm Chasers. And he's an idol and a hero to all of us. And so, without another word, about a dozen of us head into this McDonald's, and I sheepishly approach them, interrupting their lunch. And I introduce myself, and Tim is there with his son Paul and their driver Carl. And I felt bad for just walking in on them like that, but they didn't seem to mind, and they actually invited all of us to go look at their equipment out back. And we spent the afternoon trading storm stories and tactics and data, and it was just a great time. I couldn't believe this. We were meeting our star. And as we parted ways for the afternoon, Tim shook my hand and said, "You stay safe out there, and I'm sure we'll see you soon enough." And as if that, didn't top our entire chase trip, the next day, on May 28th, we saw a massive tornado in the middle of Kansas that sat in a field and spun and drilled a hole in the earth for about 45 minutes. And it was absolutely beautiful. Now, it's kind of strange to describe a tornado as beautiful until you actually see it for yourself, because you're seeing the sunlight behind it. You're seeing these grays and blacks and greens and blues boiling in the sky. And to see the looks on my crew's faces, because for some of them, it was their very first tornado. Many chasers go their entire career without seeing something like this. And the looks of joy on their faces, it just brought me elation. This is why I'm here. I'm here for this connection to something greater than myself, through this scientific connection. Something greater than anything I will ever be, and something greater than anything that humanity will ever make. And it's just being able to witness that firsthand. There's nothing else like it. The next 2 days were kind of the polar opposite, unfortunately. There were tornadoes all throughout the field, but we picked the wrong storm time and again. And this elation that we had very quickly turned to frustration. And my crew wanted to go home, but I wanted one more day. I said, "Give me one more day." And I wish I had said that from a scientific reason, because, chasers are out there for different reasons. Some are out there for adrenaline, some are out there for journalistic purposes, some are out there to gather data. I was kind of there for all three. But I wanted that one more day to give them the adventure that they had come here for. We had driven thousands of miles. I wanted to get them close. I wanted to show them this power that Mother Nature was capable of. And so on the morning of May 31st, 2013, we woke up in central Oklahoma and we checked our forecast, and it was going to be a big day. The Storm Prediction Center was forecasting supercell thunderstorms, which are these massive thunderstorms, hundreds of square miles across. I mean, these things can eat up, an entire quarter of a state. I mean, these things can be huge, and they can produce long-tracked and violent tornadoes, and that's what we were looking at for the day. So I drive us to our target area, which was just near the town of Reno, Oklahoma, which is about 40 miles west of Oklahoma City. And I pull us into this gravel driveway, and I start watching this supercell develop against the setting sun. And it was an earth eater. This thing was chewing up the earth in front of us. It was drawing in this red Oklahoma clay in excess of 80 miles an hour. I'm standing in hurricane force winds watching the storm develop. And I knew that I was looking at something that was going to be a monster.
What if we're in the wrong area and it develops right in front of us? We definitely have a gun. I'm getting pelted by gravel right now. Cops on the radio. Woo! Wow, guys. I've never been in inflow like this before. Pretty much.
And as I'm watching the storm with my crew, I see what we've been looking for: tornado. Something didn't really look right, though. A funnel would drop down from the storm, and it would move across the landscape and then lift back up, only to be replaced by another one right behind it, and then another one. This thing looked like an octopus, all these different funnels dancing together across the landscape. I mean, I'd never seen anything like this. And so I look at my information in front of me, and I decide, all right, let's get closer. It was very hard to see the tornado as it was forming. The funnels themselves were kind of the same color as the sky behind them, so it was a very low contrast, very hard to see. But I pulled us out of this driveway and I started heading north, closer to the tornado. And immediately, several red flags started to pop up for me. The first and foremost was that every other storm chaser on this road was driving south as fast as they could. And I was the only schmuck going north. The second was that after maybe about a minute of driving, I looked out to my left, to the west, and where I should have saw nothing, I saw the tornado, perfectly parallel with my car. Okay. I fucked up somewhere. I made a miscalculation. I made a tactical error. Call it what you want. I don't have time to think about it. I got to get us out of here. And so I see a bolt of lightning flash behind the tornado, illuminating its true size and intensity for me. And at the same time, the outer circulation of this funnel, which extends about half a mile outside of it, starts to hit my car. My vehicle is being racked with wind, rain, and hail, and I didn't have time to think. The only thing I could do was we had to get out of here. I had to get us out of here. I handed off the camera to my passenger, and I told her to keep filming no matter what happened. And so I turned around, shifted into drive, put my foot to the floor, and the tires screeched, the engine revved, and we were off.
Tornado, we gotta go! We gotta go, guys. We gotta fucking go! It's right next to us. Holy shit! Keep your eyes on the road. I'm trying. Oh my god! Yeah, we are in a tornado. We are outside of the tornado right now. Oh my god! You gotta keep going. Keep going south. Keep going. Oh my god! Hold on. We're okay. Hold on, guys.
These winds were so ferocious that they were literally pulling us back toward the tornado. And everybody in my car is screaming and panicking. And I begin shouting out our location and what we're doing, not for me and not for my crew, but for the camera, because I knew that this was the end of the line for us. I knew that this tornado was going to overtake my vehicle, and it was going to throw it, and we were going to be killed, or it was going to move over us, and the immense pressure inside would kill us. And I glance up through my sunroof as I'm driving, and I notice a satellite tornado, a smaller tornado that can be spawned off such a giant storm, starting to drop right on top of my car. And that just kind of seemed to strengthen my resolve to drive even faster. And I glanced in my rearview mirror, and I saw just an absolutely horrifying sight. The tornado was crossing the road maybe 500 yards behind us, and I was watching houses literally exploding, and I was watching headlights being swallowed by this maelstrom of wind and rain. And I thought, what the hell am I doing out here? And I tried to, as I was fleeing south, I tried to film the tornado one last time. And as quickly as it had appeared, I could no longer see it. Not because it had lifted, but because it now consumed the entire horizon. It did not even fit in the viewfinder of my camera. And so I knew it was now time to take shelter. And I drove us to a bar where we hunkered down for a while, but there were more storms coming, and I figured at this point it was time just to get the hell out of central Oklahoma altogether. And after what seemed like hours of driving through wind and rain and floodwaters, I could finally see the edge of these storm clouds, and I could see the twilight on the horizon and the starlight, and I knew that we were safe at last. The next day, we went back to the road that we had fled on because as storm chasers, we hate seeing damage inflicted by tornadoes, and we want to help out as much as we can. So I spent the afternoon picking through these damaged and destroyed houses and getting stories from the residents there and hearing about the hell that all of us had endured the day before. And as we wrapped up for the afternoon, we loaded up the car and started heading back toward home, just glad that we had survived such an event, and we had had a hell of a week. I got a phone call on the way home from a fellow storm chaser who had been in the area on May 31st, and my blood ran cold very quickly. There had been fatalities with this tornado, and some of them were storm chasers. Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and their driver Carl had been caught when the tornado reached its maximum intensity. It had grown to 2.6 miles wide, with wind speeds in excess of 300 miles per hour in its center. It still holds the record for being the largest tornado in history. And they did not make it. And I'm still storm chasing. I'm safer about it, as safe as you can be. And I switched my reasons for chasing far from the adrenaline. It's still there, but I focus now more on the journalistic reasons and the data gathering reasons. And I know that every time I get behind the wheel, it's a different adventure. I keep coming back because weather changes every day. And I know that each time I go out, I'm going to go try to find these beautiful beasts. And I guess I'll always be one of those who's crazy enough to chase them.